All right, Ab here with Tech Motorsports, and we're going to pick up right where we left off part 1. So here is part 2, and that is the roll cage and the delete panel installation. So let's get right into it. The lower section of the delete panel, the cards on the side have to be installed. So what I ended up doing was I finally got it in place. It's a tight fit between both side panels and the bottom seat cover. So per the instructions, these tabs here are the ones that get drilled, and then in the kit has the inserts to install. So I was able to do that. Now, of course, the problem lies in, once these are in there, how to drill the holes. That's where it took a little bit trying to figure out, to come up with a nice, easy method. On the instructions, they have how to do it. But what I ended up doing is I did take a piece of tape here, kind of mark my line, and did it on both sides. And I used the one on side as the well. The one on the side didn't work too good, only because it's not flat on there to do anything. So anyway, so I was able to use this as my line to go into where the center hole was at. So what I ended up doing is I felt around and I kept my finger on there. I went underneath to put my finger underneath and kind of get an idea. So I was close to where I was at. So what I ended up doing is I took a small drill bit and I drilled through it, and then I used my pick, which is somewhere around here. I just misplaced it. I took my pick and was able to move it around, and I could see the gold insert. And then I was able to see how far I was off, which, to be honest with you, by doing the way I did, I was really close. So I just took my next big drill bit and went to the side that I needed to go in, and then I took the next size up with a unibit and then cleaned it up, and the holes came out really nice. So these are the holes right here. It's the size of the actual nut insert, so it fits really well. Also, what I had to do is I had to trim this section here for the battery cable and a wiring harness that goes alongside there. Also, I had to do the same thing with the back side, which is right here. I had to notch that out so that when it sits in, it also covers in this area. Now, this is going to be tricky here, trying to get this out. Okay, so this panel here, now keep in mind I have to put a roll cage in here as well. So I'm going back and forth trying to figure out what would be the best method. The thing, going through the instructions, you know, the back panel is next to fit, which I did. I got this fitted into place, and this kind of, I already went ahead and mounted this, because this went as far as I wanted to go. It was nice and smooth. You'll probably be able to see it. It was nice and smooth here, and I got my good gaps here with this in place. Now, to get the holes, the rivets, they provide 4 nut inserts to be installed here, and this is in the stock location where this panel clips onto. So they have the rubber grommets that go in there. So the nut inserts, the rib nuts, go in there and press them in. Now, what I ended up doing was I slid this section here in between that, and then marked it, and then I was able to drill my holes here, which are 4 of them. So that's done. I'm happy on how that's going to go. But now it's time to start drilling the holes for the roll cage. As you can see, here is the cutout. Here are the 2 holes, and the other 2 holes are behind the panel. So I got to get those drilled, and I got to get the panels in place. It's installing this while the roll cage is in place. That's going to be an issue. I have an idea. Don't know if it's going to work, but yeah, that's the next step. So I'm going to now remove the panels and drill the holes for the roll cage. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready, or get that going. Okay, so to get this camera angle and get it all in one, I had to put the camera on the hood, going through the windshield in here. I did have to turn the lights off in here so that the glare of the light above isn't on the windshield. So yeah, so what I've done is I have installed the roll cage already, and it is bolted down. And the reason why I did it this way was I am trying to figure out what would be the best way to install it, and with or without the side panels. So as you can see, this one has no side panels and this one does. And the reason for that is I was nervous that if I had the panels installed, that the brackets here on the edge would cut into the panels, and I didn't want that. So I did it this way, hoping it would work, and it does work. As you can see, like I said earlier, that one's installed and this one's not. She is a tight fit a little bit there, but it's because of the padding in the back that makes it a little bit tough to slide it into place. But she fits there nicely. So this whole exercise is because of the rear delete panel in the back seat portion. What I don't want to do is I don't want to bolt the seat, the roll cage, onto the plastic panel because it's going to bow, and then down the road with the heat, it's going to end up cracking. So what I want to do is install the roll cage, get it bolted down, and then install that plastic panel in the back. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do with this. So at least now I know I can get it done. So the problem is just trying to get that panel in place now. So I think that pretty much will cover the installation here. There's plenty of room all the way around. There is now, when it's bolted down, there's a 1/4 of an inch between the roll cage and the headliner, which is great. And yeah, so the only thing to do now is install this panel here and then work on the back piece. So catch you in a second. All right, so I'm about to, hopefully for the last time, install this. This will be the 6th time I'm going to install this. Unfortunately, it's just having to go in and out all the time. But so what I end up doing, and what I was talking earlier, was just trying to make, this is the back seat panel, trying to make this a nice clean installation on the cage itself. And my problem was this area right here, trying to get it to go in there. Like I stated before, I didn't want the roll cage bolted on top of this panel here. So what I ended up doing is I got everything installed, and I put the panels up on both sides, and I got these right where I wanted it, and everything was nice and smooth on the back panel. Then I just took a piece of tape and went right where the roll cage was at, and I marked where my roll cage was technically at the bar, which was really close. I mean, it was, you know, very easy to do. So by doing that, I was able then to take the roll cage back out, put these panels back on, and then install this back panel and get it situated in place, and also get these mounted in place, these 4 screws right here. So once I did that, the back panel was able to stay stationary, and what I end up doing then is just marked here on where my 1 3/4 hole will be drilled at. Now I already went ahead and installed this for the at that point the 5th time, just to see how this panel, and I'll be honest with you, how to install it with this panel having to go into there. And it was a pain in the ass. It really was. And so I was able to do it, and I noticed that this side here was binding up on the cage down here towards the weld. So when I had to take it back out again, and what I ended up doing, I did it on both holes, and I cleaned up a little bit more, made the hose just a tad bit more bigger, so this has a little bit more movement on this side. So I did it on both sides just in case, and I'm hoping this is going to be the last time I go in and install it. So I'm gonna try my best to video this, but it is different. I'm installing it differently than I installed it previously on the other clip that you probably saw a couple parts ago. So yeah, so I'm gonna try my best. Like I said, I'm hoping this is the last time that I go install this and having to remove it. But to be honest with you, this panel right here is going to be the deciding factor on that. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start installing it. All right, so for starters, I think this is the route I'm gonna go. I know the bottom panel piece is gonna be very hard to install when the roll cage is in. So I'm gonna try to have this in place. I got this blankets to go in the corner here because the lower section of the roll cage over there is going to pretty much rest on here. And I'm gonna have to slide it forward. That panel, as I stated, this is going to be my nightmare right here, just trying to get this to work. So I'm going to try it this way. They're loose, completely loose. So I'm going to try to maneuver this as I get the roll cage in a little bit and do one corner at a time, and then kind of go from there. So I've already installed my speaker panels and the seat pillars in the back. So those have already been installed because I know it's going to be a pain in the butt if I don't install them now and wait until the roll cage is in. Like, I'm hoping that this is the last time I install this thing. So I'm going to jump right into it. All right, so it went in smoother than I was anticipating. The only thing is getting to those bolts over there to mount this sucker down. The back panel is supposed to go above here. It has popped out and it's gone underneath, but I'm gonna have to maneuver it and kind of get it to go over this lip here. So gotta do a little bit of gentle persuasion to be able to get it to fall into place. And then the other thing that I did not mention earlier was getting the side panels between here. That was a tight fit originally. It's probably going to be a pain in the butt for me to get those in, so we will soon see. So let me see if I could explain this on how I got to where I'm at. It was a lot to take in here. Okay, so the roll cage has been completely bolted down, the rears and the fronts. Okay, originally when I was tightening them just to get it in place, I didn't use the nylon nuts that came with the kit. I did use them now because I'm hoping not to have to take it back off. So I got those completely. All bolts have been pretty much installed. So now, as you saw previously, what I had to end up doing was installing that panel up in first and this one as well, and then work it up together. Now, what made it difficult is trying to get that panel in the right spot to get these bolts tightened. So that is the kicker, is what I had to do is, and I don't know if it's going to come in through the camera very well, but I'm going to put this right here. I'm hoping you can see it. This section here, which is the slot that I cut out, the roll cage slot to go down here towards the bottom, I moved that up and clipped it here on this bar. That accessed me all the bolts. I tightened them down, and then what I had to do then remove it and put it back in this spot, and didn't have to do that side. So I did the rear ones first, and then I went to the front. By doing that, that got me to where all bolts have been tightened down, and it then kind of got me to where I had to start moving this booger around, this lower seat panel here, so that I could install this panel here. So this panel is installed. The way you see this panel laying is how I installed this panel here. I already have the trim on, so it's sitting right where it's supposed to sit. The one I have not installed is this one right here. I still have to do that one. So now I got to maneuver this puppy to be able to insert that piece there. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. I think I got everything covered for this section. So she is complete. It wasn't easy as I thought it was going to end up being, and it's not so much of installing the roll cage or installing the rear seat delete panels. It's doing both at the same time, or just doing both, or having, doing both in conjunction, or to be installed in the car, because it's a lot of tedious stuff, and mainly more it's the fit and finish, and trying to get these panels in between all this stuff. And same thing with the back one. That was a pain. The fit and finish was also a bigger pain, is trying to make everything look a little bit, or trying to make it look nice. So what I end up having to do is concentrate on this section here. Originally what I ended up having was tape to mark where the roll cage was at, but I didn't take into consideration the additional space that was between the actual metal wheel well and the inner portion of the plastic piece. I did take some, but it was higher, so when I end up cutting the sections out, it was just below where both the X member, the X portion meet down towards the bottom. I needed to go up higher, so that means I needed to elongate my holes a little bit on the plastic panel here, and that's what I had to do with everything installed. Now, I did not have to take this back out. Thank goodness I didn't have to, but it was a pain in the ass to try to go in and try to trim everything. So that had to be trimmed more, and on the edges on both sides. So so having all that done, having this done, now the pieces are back in now. This to cover up the holes here. Also finished up the push button ones here. So the kit came with 5. I followed the instructions to install them. It sounded like in the kit they only provided 3, but I got 2 extra, so I installed all 5 of those on the back panel. And then also went ahead and installed these right here as well. Oh well, I'm pretty sure you can't see very well with without the flashlight on, but there are the rivets right there, the push pin rivets, the plastic ones, to hold that back section together. So also on the back panel, what I end up doing is, per the instructions on the panel, it says to install the back panel first and then install the speaker panel on top of that. I did it the opposite. I think it looks cleaner that way. So yeah, I guess it's preference, so hopefully TC likes it. And so what I ended up doing is I did install these already. These do rotate. They're on a little pivoted portion there. I did put the cap on, but once you rotate it down, it'll pop out. So yeah, that's about it. I got the seat belts all back together, and all the trim is all back together. Technically the back completely done now, so I'm gonna work on the rest of the stuff, which is I still have the heated seats, or the heated portion, and then the steering wheel to install, and I'm gonna get to that. Well, there she is. She's pretty much all back together. The seats are installed, the belts, as you can see. The only thing that I haven't done is install the center console. There's still a couple items that I'm waiting on. I want to have everything all together, so when I do finalize and install that, I got the shifter boot loose because I will be doing something with the shifter here. I'm going to rebuild it. That'll be a different video. But yeah, for the most part, and inside here is almost done. The steering wheel has been installed. I also went ahead, since the steering wheel was off, I went ahead and pulled the gauge cluster out and removed the airbag light from the cluster, and also went ahead and just removed the traction control light, because on the previous work that I did to the car is we eliminated the traction control, the flapper down there, because we went to an OBD1 intake. But anyways, the seats have been installed. The brackets, the sliding brackets, is what I had to deal with a little bit. Originally, mounting the seats to the Corbo brackets that TC bought in conjunction with the seats, they were, when they bolt on, the seats would not go back far enough. So somebody as myself, being 6'2", my knees were hitting the lower section of the steering column, so I had to create a bracket to extend the seat back further. So I did that, and she works just great. I got plenty of room down underneath the steering column for my knees, so they're positioned okay. For my liking, I wish the seats were a little bit lower, but TC being shorter than me, I think it's going to be perfect for him. And yeah, and let me see here. So with the brackets themselves that came with the seats, they had a location to install the OEM seatbelt clips here, so they are installed so that we could end up using the regular OEM seatbelt system. So yeah, that's done. CD heats has been installed. As I think I stated previously, I used the switches from BMW, so all I end up doing is just connecting the wires and finding the ones off the Corbo seats and doing that connection there. And I think that's it. The other item that we're waiting on is the seatbelt collar holders, to keep those in place. especially the outer ones. It will slide over because it's curved to give you plenty of room from the seat and to the back. So yeah, so pretty much for the inside is completely done. Like always, guys, help the channel out by doing so. You gotta hit that like and subscribe button, and see you in the next video.